G'day guys, in this video we are going to compare real estate investment trusts listed in ASX, and I would like to thank Anthony for requesting this episode. We're gonna compare those REIT companies such as Goodman Group, Charter Hall with Vanguard Australian Property ETF or VAP. Are they performing above the ETF average or are they underperforming? We're gonna look at the average dividend yield and also the average unit price growth for the past 10 year and 5 years. Make sure you watch till the end because we're gonna talk about the risks of investing with this REIT company. So for the dividend yields, I list out from best performing on the top and the lowest on the bottom. You can see the top three winners here. We have Centuria with the ticker code CNI with the average dividend yield for 10 years, about 13%, similar to Charter Hall Group. And Stockland Group came third with 9% average dividend yield, and the 5-year dividend yield is lower, possibly because the share price valuation has become more reasonable, but still it's very high dividend yield with Centuria with 8.5% and Charter Hall Group of 7.4% for the past 5 years. Goodman Group, the largest REIT companies listed in ASX by market capitalization, I think it's about $44 billion, has a decent dividend yield for the past 10 years of 6.1% and 5.2% for the past 5 years. And if you purchase Vanguard Australian Property ETF, VAP, you would have got an average dividend yield of 8% for the past 10 years and 5.4% for the past 5 years. The worst performer for dividend yield is Santa with the ticker code SCG with the average dividend yield of 5.8% for 10 years and 4% for 5 years. Now let's have a look at the unit price growth. Charter Hall Group, CHC, and Goodman Group, GMG, has done amazing for the past 5 years. Goodman Group up by 240% and Charter Hall Group has gone up by 300% for the past 5 years. Vanguard Property ETF, VAP, has gone up just by 21%. If we convert that into average unit price growth for the past 5 years, it's here on the right hand side here. Charter Hall Group with 33% unit price growth for the past 5 years. That is amazing return, followed by Goodman Group of 28% for the past 5 years and Centuria CNI by 26%. I highlighted this amazing return with the red color because I want to make sure you don't get too optimistic and thinking that this amazing return can repeat again for the next 5 and 10 years. You need to understand the real estate business. I'm not an expert in real estate business, but if you have the expertise and you see a growth of 20 to 30% for the next 5-10 years, then it'll be a good idea. The ones that I highlighted green are more on average return because Vanguard has an average unit price growth of 7.5% for the past 10 years and 4.3% for the past 5 years. The worst performer for the unit price growth are Stockland Group, Santa, and Vicinity Centers, VCX. Vicinity has a negative 9.6% for the unit price growth, possibly of their retail portfolio hasn't recovered as well due to the COVID pandemic. And if we add up the dividend yield and also the unit price growth, we get the average total return for 10 years. It's on the left hand side here and 5 years for the right hand side here. We have the clear winner for Charter Hall Group of 40% and Centuria by 35% and Goodman Group with 32% average total return for the past 5 years. Vanguard ETF has given a really good average total return of 15% for the past 10 years and 10% for the past 5 years. The total return that's not doing so great is Santa with negative 2.8% and also Vicinity with negative 5% for the past 5 years. I think this is most likely due to retail real estate is greatly impacted by the COVID pandemic. And now we have Omicron strain that is going wild like we never seen before. I've got this table here that lists out the market capitalization, profit after tax, PAT for financial year 2021, and I compared with 2019 just to see the effect of the COVID pandemic to these REIT companies and also the profit after tax around 2016 just for a comparison. You can see Center has a negative 3.7 billion net loss reported in 2021, and Vicinity has a net loss reported for about $250 million. If you compare it in 2019, Center has reported a profit after tax about 1.2 billion, whereas in 2016 reported a $3 billion profit. And you can see there that if you base your projection on 2016 and not taking into account a risk of worldwide pandemics such as COVID, you would have lost some money investing in retail REIT. And we have reached the last part of this video. There is a history of how these REIT companies is severely punished during the Great Financial Crisis, GFC. If you invest in Charter Hall Group when it was valued about $13, you would have lost 94% of your capital. From 2009 to 2017, people are really careful investing in REIT companies. They still remember what happens in GFC. Up till recently, for the past 5 years, people are more optimistic investing in REIT companies. And that's why I calculate the PE comparison. PE ratio for Charter Hall Group is about 18. Back in January 2017, it was about 9. And the same with Goodman Group. The PE is about 19. Back in 2017, it's about 10. We need to be extra careful as well because we are in a very low interest rate. And if you're interested to learn more of how GFC has impacted Charter Hall, because I've created a video about this, you can watch it because there's an interesting story of how Charter Hall turned around its business post the GFC era, and I hope you find it useful, and thank you.